Hello friends, welcome to another installment of the Tao of Otaku, where we dissect comics, manga, and all forms of sequential art. Ziki here, and today marks the beginning of our manga versus anime series, where we will look at various mangas, compare them with their animated adaptations to see where one wins over the other. Our case study for today is Parasyte the Maxim, created by Hitoshi Iwaki. This is a sci-fi series set in a world where a group of strange parasitic creatures arrive on Earth. They immediately seek out human hosts, take over their brains, and the fusion of parasite and human creates a deadly shape-shifting creature that can literally bite off a human head in one go. I love this series. I cannot recommend it highly enough. But if you haven't had the opportunity to read or watch Parasyte, just note that although I've done my best to avoid spoilers, given the nature of today's video, it's somewhat inevitable, so keep that in mind as you proceed. In any case, for today, we'll be looking at one particular scene from both the manga and the anime, starting here. This page is perhaps my favorite in the series. It might not seem obvious at first glance, but it really typifies what I love so much about sequential art. First, let's back up. The scene begins with this guy, Goto, approaching a Yakuza hideout. At this point in the story, it's not clear who he is, but it seems likely that he's a parasite. In any case, he approaches the Yakuza hideout, runs into a member of the gang, presumably standing guard, and the guard gives Goto two choices: get out or get hurt. If you read enough manga, or if you're familiar with certain styles of storytelling, it's easy to guess what happens next. Look at Goto. He's so calm, nonchalant, plus we're fairly sure he's a parasite, so he's definitely going to beat up this Yakuza guy pretty badly. But despite the fact that many readers will have an idea of what's about to happen, Iwaki still makes this a delightful read by playing around with the build-up and execution. Look at this frame here. Goto stands calmly ignoring the gangster, and in the background there is a group of children, an old lady and a woman. Might seem insignificant at first, but then in the next panel, the children have disappeared, leaving just the woman and the old lady. And then in the final panel, everyone is gone. In other words, no witnesses. And then, it's just amazing. These 2 pages alone really typify some of the cool things you can do with comics and manga. Let's compare this with the animated adaptation of this exact scene. You'll see that they've completely changed the build-up to the fight. Here, instead of Goto patiently waiting for all of the witnesses to disappear, the Yakuza member motions to attack him and gets completely obliterated. This is pretty cool, but the reason why I think the manga version of this scene is better is because by giving the reader the opportunity to read each frame at their own pace, Iwaki is able to ratchet up the tension as the reader soaks in the reality of the situation. Whereas in the anime, it happens a little too quickly for there to be any real build-up or tension. Furthermore, Iwaki also takes advantage of a tool virtually unique to comics, the page turn. Normally when reading comics, even though we're progressing from panel to panel, we still see everything on the page. Therefore, within the context of a single page or even a double page spread, it's hard to surprise the reader or catch them off guard, because they'll usually see it coming through their peripheral vision. By making the reader turn the page, we're giving them new information that can evoke strong emotions within us, such as awe, shock, or surprise. So not only do we have this lovely build-up leading up to Goto attacking the Yakuza, we get to see what happens next in the form of a page-turner, and this allows Iwaki to catch us somewhat off guard. Of course, in an anime, they can always cut to the next scene or action, but with comics, you control the pace at which you read the story, so it has a completely different effect. All this said, I did really enjoy the anime version of this scene, and from this point onwards, both the anime and the manga are more or less on par for me in terms of how they portray the subsequent massacre. And where I think the anime even exceeds the manga starts with this moment here.
どうした?来いよ。ほう、1。このバケモンが！ たぜ。3か。
Alright, so there are many amazing things that I could say about the clip that I just showed you guys, but what really encapsulates it all for me is the musical composition. You might have noticed already, but prior to Goto getting hit by the sword, there was no background music whatsoever. It was more or less just a mindless bloodbath. But after Goto gets hit, the music kicks in and he begins counting from 1 to 3. And this changes the whole scope of the scene because now we're not just witnessing some mindless bloodbath. Something else is going on. And I won't say what it is, but it's not even a massive revelation. It's just a little something that gives us the impression that there's a method to the madness. Now, I will say that the manga version of this sequence is also pretty damn gorgeous. I simply think that the anime has improved upon the original source material. Firstly, they've actually changed the script, and I think the change in script signals an improvement. Furthermore, the musical composition really adds weight to the character beat that we experience with Goto. And finally, given the fluid nature of animation, we can witness Goto's internal dialogue whilst keeping the pace of the action ramped up. And for those reasons, I think that for this particular sequence, the anime edges the manga, but only just. In any case, guys, I'm going to stop here. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, be sure to drop them in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Do you think that the manga is hands down better, or perhaps you think that the anime is unquestionably better, or a bit of both? Either way, let me know what you think in the comments. And secondly, I'll be doing another video next week, but I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do. So if there are any titles you want me to look at in regards to our anime versus manga series, then please let me know in the comments as well. And that's more or less it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and lastly, I've started a mailing list where I essentially mail you guys my notes for these videos in addition to the transcripts. So if you want access to that, then there's a link to my mailing list in the description. Just click sign up and they'll be coming to your mailbox once a week. Thank you so much. Never stray away from the Tao of Otaku. Always follow the way of the geek.